how's it going? My name is Charlie and today I'm going to tell you some advice that I would have given myself. I've had so much growth even just in the last 2 years in my eating disorder recovery, body acceptance journey, time, however you want to call it. I've compiled a list of 5 things that I think are like the top things that I would tell myself, past self, and the things that I still think about regularly that I wish I had done differently, or I wish I had handled it differently. I don't know, maybe you can gauge something from this. If not, you just get to learn a little bit more about me and that's totally fine. Also, if you clicked on this video from the wonderful Carrie Dayton, hi, how's it going? My name is Charlie or Charlie Ann, either or. Carrie and I talked about maybe doing a video together and this was her idea to give advice to our younger selves. And I'm so happy that she wanted to do something like this with me because she means a lot to me and she's helped me a lot along this journey with self-acceptance, learning how to wear clothes that I actually enjoy and not just wearing things to hide my body. Even though some days I still want to do that, it's nice to know that I don't have to because of the way that I look. If you want to see Carrie's video, if you don't know who she is, she's wonderful. You can check out the link in my description because, I mean, I love everything she does. I'm a bit of a suck up, but I'm not going to complain about it. So with that being said, here are the things that I wish I would have known when I was younger. Number 1. Fat is not a bad word. When I was in 4th grade, a boy in my class called me fat, and one of my friends tried to explain to me that I wasn't fat, I just had muscle, and that it was bad that he called me fat. The fat people on TV and in shows and movies that I had seen were the villains and the comic relief and never the main character and never the princess, never the one who got a happy ending. Editing Charlie thought of one exception to this, and that is the musical Hairspray, which I was obsessed with growing up. She does get the man. She does get the man. There's a lot of fat jokes, but she has a happy ever after. So the way that fat had been demonized in media for me, yes, that was a bad thing and I didn't want to be that. But here's the thing, I was a chunky kid, but there was so much more to me as a kid that had nothing to do with my body. Outdoorsy, I was adventurous, I loved fairies, I made fairy gardens, I was crafty, I liked Taekwondo, I liked Girl Scouts, I liked camping. There were so many things about me as a kid that had nothing to do with the way that I looked. And it bothers me so much thinking about it now, how to heart I took it, even as a 4th grader, which is like 9 years old. Throughout my life, I had been called fat at various ages. And every time I felt like I was less of a person, but I'm not. I took it as though I was less than, which is the way that fat people are treated around the world and especially in the United States. So that being said, fat is not a bad word. Ugly is not a bad word. And you should stop using them to describe things you don't like. For instance, I hear my family members a lot call Donald Trump fat and ugly, making fun of the way that he looks, and that's not a productive thing to do. And if you don't like someone and the only things that you can make comments on are their body, then you don't know them enough or know about them enough to actually dislike them. If you dislike someone for their actions, their policies, their speech, the things that they've done in the past, those are things you can dislike someone over. I can make a whole list of reasons why I don't like Donald Trump, but his appearance does not make it onto the list because that's the least important thing about him to me. There are so many more important conversations to have other than his looks and his size. That's just an example. It's something that's been bothering me a lot lately, if you can't tell. Number 2. Eat the croissant. I've done a lot of traveling since high school and I'm so grateful that I've had the money and the means to do so and was wanting to travel at a time where US citizens were allowed in other countries. I did a semester abroad in Europe, and while I was there I was a very strict vegan. Not only was I strict vegan, but I was a high carb, low fat, low protein, like hardly any processed foods, and I had very few options when I was out and about. And there was this one particular time I wanted a croissant so badly, there was a few times to be honest, and I just didn't eat them because I was too scared because I wasn't preparing it and I didn't know what was in it and it wasn't vegan and I was just scared. My dietary choices are my biggest regret of my travels because, I mean, if you want to eat environmentally conscious, I'm all for that. I still try to eat as environmentally conscious as I can while I'm in recovery, but at the same time, while you're traveling, tasting the foods of the places that you're traveling is really important and part of the travel. I feel like I missed out on a lot of opportunities while traveling, some amazing foods and learning more about the cultures I was in because I was so strict with myself. If I could go back, I would just do it. I'd do it all over differently. Number 3, a meal of 5 bananas is not going to cure your eating disorder, but it will give you cavities, like 7 of them. Previously with my other piece of advice, like I said, I ate a very specific, strict vegan diet for a long time, and I didn't eat that way every single day. There were some times where, you know, I did eat more tofu than the average person. I ate more tofu than other people who were doing the same diet because I still lived at home. I still had people watching over what I was eating, and you know, when you eat 5 banana smoothies, your parents take notice. Recently, within the last year, I found out that I had so many dental problems because I was eating such a high carb fruit diet for so long. And on top of that, I was afraid to use toothpaste for a long period of time because I wasn't sure. There was no calorie information on the package of toothpaste. I had a lot of dental problems that cost me a lot of money. So if I could go back in time, I would tell myself, like, 1 banana is probably good. If you want 2, that's awesome. But when you're pushing it and you're having 5 bananas in a smoothie, it's just gonna hurt you in the long run. The amount of calories that are in toothpaste is none of your concern. The amount of calories in any food that you eat is none of your concern. Oh my god, I need to talk to my therapist about this. So a point that I failed to make while recording this is that I thought that I was cured and that I like had totally recovered because I was able to eat like high quantities of food and like I was eating more calories, but I was eating foods that I thought were safe, and I was like categorizing foods in a weird way, and I was still counting my calories in other ways. I was counting macros and things, so I thought that I was totally cured. I even made a video about it at the time, back in like 2017, 2016, that I was totally recovered and totally good because I found this like vegan diet that was so great, and I was able to eat as much as I want, but only certain foods and only certain times a day. And so eating 5 bananas a day did not cure me. It just brought me to this whole new level of sick. Number 4. You are wasting your money. I am a very frugal person with my money. I think about my purchases a long time before I buy them. I buy most things secondhand because A, it's cheaper and a little more sustainable. Ever since I was a kid, I have always been really conscious about money and how much I spend and how much I save. I've always enjoyed saving money as well. That being said, when it came to my eating disorder, I spent money like nobody's business. I would buy scales, meal plan calculators, ebooks, and diet plans, and so many things. I think I've probably spent hundreds of dollars. I probably have spent thousands of dollars. Me realizing how much money I've actually wasted on the things that my eating disorder has cost me. And that doesn't include all of the money that has been spent by my parents for treatments that I've done, for therapists, for nutritionists, for all of the things that I had to go through, all of my dental work. Oh my god. All of the money that I have spent because of this. It's so out of character for me to have spent that much money on something. Great example of how an eating disorder or mental illness can really change someone. Buy a scale and then say I'm recovering, throw out the scale. 2 weeks later, buy a new scale. I've probably bought and then thrown away like 4 scales. It's kind of ridiculous. So if I could go back, I'd tell myself that I'm wasting my money, and there's so many other things that I could have spent that on. I imagine now, like, if I had had that money in my pocket right now, all of the wonderful organizations that I would be able to donate it to, all of the people that I'd be able to support right now, and that money is gone, and I can't hate myself for doing that because it came from a place of mental illness, but like, it's still something I think about. Number 5. You offer so much more to the world than your body and the way that you look. I've said this so many times, and I think people really resonate with it, that my existence is more than my appearance, and I offer more to the world than my body. Because it's true, there's so much about me that has nothing to do with my body. Like, if I was to put myself down on paper, There are so many amazing qualities about me and about my life and about things that I've accomplished and things that I've done that have nothing to do with the way that I look. And I think it's something that I'm starting to value more now as I'm trying this new stage of recovery where I'm feeling more comfortable with food. I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable with my body, but yet I still go back to that place sometimes, and I can't separate myself from that old part of me. And so I'm learning now that like there's so much more to me than the way that I look. And when I think about the people in my life that I care about, I don't notice if their body changes. It's just a body. It's literally just a body. And there are so many more important things in my life that I want to focus on sometimes that just aren't my body. I might get a little sad about this, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. I started writing a book when I was 8 years old. Am I gonna cry? I've cried a lot today. I started writing a book when I was 8 years old. It's a fantasy story. It's a fantasy adventure story for kids. I started writing it and I wrote it beginning to end and finished it by the time I was 13. And then I wanted to make some edits to it and then read it to my friends, and it was close to 300 pages long. And so I started making edits and I started rewriting parts, aging it up a little bit, doing all of the fun things, and writing was such a big part of my life for a long time. I used to write every day, hours a day, and it was my biggest hobby and the thing that I was most proud about. And I can't remember a time in the last 6 years that I've written for longer than an hour. And the times that I have, I'm thinking about food the whole time. And I just wonder if I had focused on the things I was passionate about more, if I would have finished my book by now. And like, my fantasy story for kids would be done. It's not done because I've spent so much time recovering and then taking a few steps back and then trying again and then taking more steps back. And I just wish that I could go back and tell myself that like any time that I was gonna go on another pointless run, or anytime I was gonna spend an extra half hour counting out and measuring my food for one meal, if I could have all that time back, I don't know what I'd do. I wish I had that time back, but I don't. I just have to use it differently now, which I can totally do. That got a little sad. I might cry after this, but that's okay. Crying is okay. That's another thing I tell myself. Crying is okay. There's another airplane. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you got something out of this video, that if you didn't, maybe you learned a little bit more about me. And if you haven't already, watch Carrie's video. Like I said at the beginning, I'll have her video linked, the first link in the description if you want to watch it. She is such a kind and wonderful person, and I'm just so happy that I've been able to connect with her. It's one of the most exciting things that's happened to me this year is that I've just been able to have conversations with her. And so I'd be really happy if you checked out her video, and I'd be really happy if you're from her channel and you want to stick around. My videos usually aren't this somber. They're usually a little more upbeat. I like to do like vlog videos and stuff about my art. I like to do clothing videos now that I finally am getting comfortable with my clothes. I used to do more food related content, and I've decided to like step away from that a little bit right now, just while I kind of figure some things out for myself. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!